Okay, let's have a look at how to cut a relatively easy shape. Not so much an easy tessa for me to be using because tile isn't my natural state of being. It wouldn't be a challenge if I was doing stuff I was already familiar with. So I'm going to take the same approach as I would if this was stained glass. Now, because this is slippery, I'm going to pin it down with a little bit of sticky tape. So I'm just making a little round bit, which I'll stick on the back and then pop that on there. Now with cutting, I want to make sure I've got enough space when I come off here and off this end to be able to run it. Because the glaze, remember this is glass, so I'm going to use a glass cutter to score this and then break it with running pliers. I can do that because this tile is really soft. It's crumbly tile. If I were to use wheel nippers, it would just crumble and you'd end up with a terrible mess, crumbs. You end up with bits of junk you just can't use if it's too soft. So you need to think about the softness of your tiles, just like you do when you're cutting all the different sorts of crockery. The bits that are of concern are the points. I always cut the inside curve off first. Do let me know if you have a different approach. I learnt this like 50 years ago. How old am I? No, 45, I'm exaggerating. 45 years ago, and I'm sure the world has changed. And then I would do the outside curve. Of course, remove your pattern piece. And remember, we're cutting off the outline, so I'm going to cut through here and we'll see how accurate I am. Luckily, this bit's is waste, so if I wobble a bit, which I'm inclined to wobble a bit, because my wrists aren't strong enough and neither is my grip. If you don't have those issues, then you'll be able to start this really well. So I always have the screw going into the direction that you're pushing your cutter. So if I held it like a pencil, I would push the screw up the front. Because I'm bringing it towards me, I put the screw towards me. So in the direction you're going. Then, see the spring action? It helps you position it. Hard on these tiles because they got round bits to start with and not square bits. You press down and get your spot, get your spot firmly planted and then guide it through. You won't be able to see me because I'm more concerned about getting an accurate cut. The pressure's on so I can show off for you and not have to do too much grinding. Oops. Oh, could be a fat grind. I move in there. But like I say, we adjust as we go. This is all to do with my hand. Okay, so when you have your cutter at that angle, you should have a straight line down from the side here. If you tilt it this way or that way, you'll end up with wonky cuts. Really common, especially when you're first starting, having a bad hand day, whatever. So the aim is to make sure that's at 90 degrees to whatever you're cutting, no wobbles. And because this tile is really soft, anybody that doesn't have hand or wrist issues, whether that be RSI, all those things that create weaknesses, should be able to do this with ease. So I've got my runners lined up, and in a previous video I talked about how to set your running pliers up. So I can do a little squeeze here, and you might even hear it crack. Keeping fingers crossed, it goes in a bend. Oh, I felt that break. It's actually like very soft glass, which means it will break easily. and I couldn't have asked for a better break than that. You can see where I ran off the rails here, so the pattern that sits next to it will need to be adjusted for that little wonky do. Now I want to cut off the next bit, which might be 1 or 2 pieces. So I'll do the same thing and come back. So I did a score line all the way through here and a break line here, and then broke this bit off first with the running pliers. Look how good that is. Damn. And then the last bit off, which took just the very tip. But we can compensate easily for that. It's not like I have to redo the whole thing again or make some other adjustment for this large piece, because I want it to be just like that. So there you have it.